I was doing a psychedelic trip with my spiritual mentor, and all of a sudden I started dripping sweat on my face. And I looked at him and I said, the body's doing that thing again it does when it gets hot. And it was the weirdest feeling because I did not feel hot, like me, the awareness speaking to you right now, the mind. I did not have that sensation of what it would feel like when I was sweating, but I had awareness that it was happening. But even though I had awareness, welcome back to one's journey of unwinding the mind and, of course, your daily microdose. Now tune in to the latest episode of One's Journey. Today, I'm going to talk about awareness and the need for the observer and dependent on their perception as to what is perceived. Have you ever heard that statement of, if a tree falls in the woods and no one is around, does it make a sound? I've always been intrigued by that question. And the more research I've done in my lifetime, quantum theory and just how things operate, I would say no. Because there's not someone there to observe it. There's not an observer unless, say, there's someone around. If there's a bear or a bird or whatever, that's considered an observer. When I say and no one is around, I mean nothing, no one. Nothing that can observe is around. It's been interesting because I'm starting to see things like that. An example, when we really start to move our awareness from or our perception, I mean, from the ego spirit belief, or the ego spirit, wow, it's been a long day. From the ego's belief system to the Holy Spirit's belief system. Now remember, when we're looking through the ego's lens, perceiving through that, we perceive pain and separation and suffering. When we look through the Holy Spirit's belief system, when we come from that place and perceive through there, it's just love. Love and light. Everything is a cry for love or a request for love. We are love. You don't experience pain or suffering because you realize you are the dreamer of the dream. Have you ever been sick and you just constantly want to sleep because your head stops hurting when you're sleeping or your belly stops hurting? I believe it's because our perception, our awareness shifts. We're not focused on the awareness of that pain. And I bring that up because it happened recently. Many of you know, or maybe don't know actually, that I had a significant allergy to the sun. Like, I mean, awful. My friends would say I had the Skittle pox. Remember, like, the Skittles had the commercial of the Skittle pox? But so if I would go out in the sun, even in the middle of winter in Minnesota, and I did not have sunscreen on, I would get hives. I would give these little like blister hive looking things that itch like crazy, whatever. And it progressively got worse. It actually happened on my honeymoon with my ex-husband, which is hilarious, but that's when it started. And I had been a sun baby all my life. Looking back, of course, it was because my body was projecting what was going on inside. But as I've worked through and I've done a lot of forgiveness healing and deeper level understanding and really working on untying myself from the body, it's gotten better and better. But it will randomly come back sometimes when I tend to be, what I observe, sitting in the ego a lot more. And especially sitting in the ego when I'm sitting out in the sun. Anyway, recently I had a small outbreak. It was very minute compared to what it was used to be, but it is so uncomfortable. Even if you just get one of these on your body, your whole body is reacting. I was really thinking about the concept of I am not my body. And I was thinking about how, okay, if I remove my awareness from that itch, will it go away? And it did. I would remove my awareness from it. It went away, but then when I brought my awareness back to check it, it would come back. Interesting, huh? So the trick I found was that I really just had to keep my awareness off of it. And anytime it was pulled back or was intentionally pulled back, I just had to bring it back again. That's why when we're sleeping, I think our awareness has shifted. And when your awareness shifts to not of the body, then you're coming more of the Holy Spirit's belief system. So there is a need for an observer, first of all, and even you sitting in your body can choose to not bring awareness to that. And you can begin to untie yourself from that. And I want to share one of the first times I consciously experienced this, knowing, I mean, I guess I get more what it means now, but in that moment, it was like, wow, this is an aha moment. I was doing a psychedelic trip with my spiritual mentor, and all of a sudden I started dripping sweat on my face. And I looked at him and I said, the body's doing that thing again it does when it gets hot. And it was the weirdest feeling because I did not feel hot, like me. The awareness speaking to you right now, or the awareness behind this speaking to you, the mind, I did not have that sensation of what it would feel like when I was sweating, but I had awareness that it was happening. But even though I had awareness, I was able to separate that. I was able to really take that stance of being the dreamer of the dream, the observer of what is occurring. Though currently I'm at this state of actively moving my awareness from it, the Holy Grail is getting to that place that I was on that mushroom trip, where not only was I observing it, I wasn't experiencing it, because I wasn't my body in that moment. Many of you know, I believe everything is a placebo, and everything, we respond to it based on the way in which our mind is responding. So mushrooms are very much a placebo that people, the larger collective, believe activates this ego death. Again, your body can't do anything. Your brain can't do anything on its own. It's at the level of the mind. So in fact, I believe that's what I was experiencing, was my mind allowed for me to fully shift out of the ego because I took these mushrooms, and that's the understanding in the mind that that's what happens when you take these mushrooms. And I also think it's too because I had done a lot of work with untying my ego already to that point, so I was able to even more significantly enter into the Holy Spirit. I encourage you to try it out, to really start to, because it's hard for me to fully explain this. I'm going to be honest, it's hard to articulate because words don't really exist for it. But I would encourage you to start to try to experience that knowingness for yourself that I'm talking about. When you feel a pain or an itch, stop thinking about it. And then you'll realize, oh, it doesn't itch anymore. But then the second you bring that awareness back to it, it'll start itching again. And you can choose in any moment which perception you want to come from, and if you want to be the observer or the person actually in it, life's happening to you. And it all comes back to awareness, and then the observer, and then where the observer's perceiving from. Which belief system are you perceiving through will depend on what you experience. As always, until next time, remember you are worth it, and love you all. Thank you.